Profit in the common economy market serves as the main principle in any of the business activities. Profit maximization also about increasing degree of monopoly market whereby the revenue exceeding the cost. Since there's not much competition in the monopoly market, the capitalist system took this opportunity by charging a high price on low quality goods. Different from Islamic point of view on profit maximization, it aims for mutual benefits and fair play, including to achieve success in this world and the hereafter.
Profit is not prohibited in Islam, rather it is encouraged and has no limit according Dr. Salimur Rahman and Najib Zadeh in 2014. Profit maximization in Islam is allowed. However, there are some conditions that underlying this concept. The business needs to comply with Islamic justice to consider if the business wants to maximize their profit. Muslims need to make sure that all the things that we do are based on the Shari'ah compliance. Profit and lawful earnings that do not contribute to wrongdoing are usually acceptable in Islam. The objective of doing the business is for the sake of Allah, to achieve the delight of Allah, and to achieve al-falah in this world and in the hereafter. The Prophet Muhammad stated that seeking earning is a duty for every Muslim. From the second source of Shari'ah, the hadith narrated by Imam Bukhari, even if he would buy sand, he would earn profit in it. It is not permissible for a Muslim to cheat customers by selling his goods at a price that differs from the going rate in the marketplace.
A study by Secretary et al. In 2012 found that there is a parallelism between interest rate and profit rate, which could support people's doubt in Islamic finance. However, according to them, this is because Islamic finance only accounts for a limited portion in conventional financial industry and is struggling to stay afloat. Therefore, a parallelism between these two is to be predicted. To fulfill the demand of Islamic banking, there is the dual banking system. What is that? That is, assisting conventional banks developing spirited Islamic units, and as Islamic finance or banking should be free from interest, the government has specific regulations that must be adhered by the institution. Is Islamic banking proven to be more efficient than the conventional ones? A study by Salman and Nawaz in 2018 suggested that the prospect of Islamic banking in Pakistan appears to be more optimistic than that of conventional banks, as the findings indicate that Islamic banking is not as badly affected by the global economic crisis as commercial banks have. However, in 2009, Abdul Majid, Sal, and Batisti has done a similar research internationally. They concluded that the country impacts put a huge effect on this comparison of efficiency even after some adjustments are made. Hence, the rate of efficiency is different for each nation.
Next is interest rate in Islam. Interest in Islam is also known as riba. Okay, what is the meaning of riba? Riba can be defined as every excess in return of which no reward or equivalent counter value is paid. Riba may come from sales transactions, debts or loans, and also price settings or tradings. Majority of the Muslim scholars agreed that implementing riba in an Islamic transaction is totally forbidden and prohibited. However, the general principle in Islam does not prohibit us Muslims to generate profit, but rather they encourage us to do so. Interest is forbidden in Islam to protect a Muslim's property from being eaten unjustly. Second is to avoid or block anything that generates hatred and envy among Muslims community. And third, to encourage as Muslims to do good to one another, as when riba is not practiced in the society, people will lend to one another with goodwill without expecting more than what they have loaned. There are numbers of evidence in the Quran and Hadith regarding the prohibition of riba. However, these three are one of them.
Applications of Maqasid Shari'ah in profit maximization. Maqasid Shari'ah is the goals of Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala on human that associated with the hereafter, which is Athirah, and additionally associated with the pastime of world, which is dunya. Maqasid Shari'ah in profit maximization urge that environmental responsibility, equal in learning distribution, and poverty discount may be carried out with the aid of using main stakeholder of Islamic bank in Islamic bank affairs. Business should also ignore profit maximization and start practicing taqwa base to strive forward of happiness of both worlds. Next is Zakat. Zakat is one of the acts of worship that are scarce and are exclusive privilege of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Zakat is an obligation on Muslim. It can reduce people purchasing power gaps and reduce the burdens of asnaf, which is poor people. There is ecosystem in Islamic banking where the legal officer who keep license will make certain guidelines. Islamic banks are not unfasted from taxation. The paper will transfer some essential asset and profit allocation that arise in Islamic bank. It can distinguish between conventional banking and Islamic banking, and it is protected for the community because only Islamic bank can protect Islamic community.
In conclusion, profit maximization is allowed in Islam, but only with the purpose of receiving the blessings of Allah as our main purpose. Secondly, in compliance with Islamic idea of justice, the profit gain must be fairly distributed towards each party, and lastly, to serve the society by considering the welfare of others. This could motivate the Muslim community to understand the role of Islamic banking institutions, including the third-party sectors such as distribution of zakah, sedekah, and wakaf for those in need. At the same time, avoid any transaction that include with any riba or prohibited elements. This is to promote equity, growth, and peace among the Muslim society. After all, the possession of wealth will be questioned in the hereafter, and it falls under the man's duty as a trustee to utilize the profit and wealth properly, since the absolute ownership only belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.